Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of the Daily Debate. I'm your host for tonight, Mohamed. Egypt's sustainable development strategy is based upon the principles of inclusive sustainable development as well as balanced regional development, emphasizing that the full participation of all of the country's apparatuses and ensuring the yields to all parties. The strategy as well considers equal opportunities for all and efficient use of resources to ensure the rights of future generations. No doubt Egypt has made significant and multifaceted efforts through establishing the mega projects, encouraging national industry, attracting foreign investments for a wider range of economic activities, and also Egypt's political leadership has spared and does not spare no effort to improve the country's standing. Tonight, along with our dear guest, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic and banking expert, we will be discussing all of that. A very good evening to you, Dr. Roshdy. Great pleasure to have you with us.
Good evening to you and our audience, and I would like to thank you and Daily Debate program team for this nice invitation.
Thank you, Dr. Roshdy. Dear viewers, Dr. Roshdy, allow us first to watch a report about our main topic for tonight and then come back and start our discussion. Please stay with us.
Egypt has embarked on a number of national mega projects that aim to enhance the competitiveness of the economy, create employment opportunities, and attract foreign and domestic private investments. With work underway, these national mega projects are contributing to several chapters in Egypt's economic progress. Egypt, a country with a legacy of incredible contributions to humanity and a rich history, keeps witnessing major upgrades in infrastructure. This rapidly growing development is coupled with a focus on infrastructure expansion. With several multi-billion-dollar mega construction projects happening, Egypt is leading the pack in Africa's big building boom. The construction industry has been on fire in Egypt for the last decade and is expected to soar even higher. Public-private partnerships and a drive towards eco-friendly high-end infrastructure are fueling this growth. The Egyptian government is a major player in the field of infrastructure, with plans for upgraded transportation systems including ports, airports, and several sustainable development projects, giving a boost to the country's economy in near future. No doubt that Egypt's steps towards the new republic are important milestones, constituting a significant leap in government performance, development, and upgrading work mechanisms at various levels. In this regard, the government has adopted strategies that leverage available resources and opportunities to create an attractive and stimulating investment environment. These efforts include supporting the private sector, streamlining procedures for investors, addressing legislative and institutional obstacles through reforms, and establishing necessary infrastructure. As a result, Egypt has solidified its position as an attractive investment destination in the region, Africa, and the Arab world, gaining international recognition for its investment endeavors.
Welcome back, and thank you, Abir Hussein, for this report. And we welcome also again our dear guest here in the studio, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the banking and economic expert. Now, Dr. Roshdy, there is no doubt that the mega projects not only are beneficial for future generations, but they create a lot of job opportunities, and they also draw investments to the country, be it foreign investments or investments from the private sector. So your take on the importance of these mega projects, and we've been seeing this for the last 10 years or so here in Egypt.
Actually, I would like to start with the quote that we didn't inherit the earth from our ancestor, we lending it from our children. For that, we are building our country for the future, as you said, for our children's future. Nowadays, there is a global challenge, which is the FDI, the foreign direct investments, and this is one of the most important things, how to bring FDI in your country. This is one of the challenges, especially for the developing countries. Nowadays, there are a lot of main pillars to bring the FDI. How? One, which is the infrastructure. We have to have a solid infrastructure, actually, to bring the FDI. If you are an investor, when you would like to enter any country, despite the fact the entry barrier, you have to see a lot of things. One of them, if they have the good infrastructure, if they have the energy, the oil, the fuel, everything, the solar energy or the electricity, everything. One of the most important things, if they're a manpower and they are educated and have a good health, and this is what we can realize easily, the presidential leadership is taking care about a lot of files, one of them which is the education and the health. The education budget, as far as I recall, it's almost doubled, and a lot of universities actually opened 3 years ago. A lot of universities, in addition to giving priority for technical education, actually, and this is one of the most important.
And there are a lot of initiatives to develop the skills of future laborers as well, and current ones.
I can tell you and our audience one of the most important things, and as a lecturer of one of the largest governmental universities, they are nowadays, there's based on the direction of presidential leadership to have the pragmatic and dogmatic aspects for the new generation. You can see easily that for the students, especially for the undergraduate, they have a solid academic, but they are losing a lot of skills that required for the market, to join the market, actually. And one of the most important things that the government and the presidential leadership, to combine the pragmatic and dogmatic aspects, they invited a lot of experts on a lot of fields. That it was a pleasure that I'm one of them, that I joined the education part as a market expert in banking industry, actually. And this is one of the most important things, to give the new generation the required market skills in addition to the academic skills. Those are pillars that we have to count on them, in addition to one of the most important things, the mega projects. The mega projects that serve a lot of sustainable objectives, which aligned with 2030 vision.
Right.
Yes. One of them that you have to mega projects. One of them, the new capital, actually the administration capital, Al-Alamin city, actually New Alamin city. In addition to new canalways to bring more for foreign currency, the solar planets, which aligned with our vision to have a sustainable to go green and have a sustainable environment. And this is aligned with the global direction to actually to decrease our footprint, which is to count more and more on renewable energy, despite the non-renewable energy like oil, fuel, a lot of things.
Right.
Those are one of the most important things, in addition to a lot of construction projects, which it was a great fortune, actually, and it decreased the unemployment rate. It it was one of the initiatives that contributed to the decrease in unemployment rate. As far as I recall, the unemployment rate was 13.5% in 2013. Nowadays, it's between 7.5%. You can realize easily that it's almost 50%.
Right, and that industry alone, according to some figures, represents something like 20% of overall GDP in Egypt. So it's very important, the construction industry and the housing industry. Very important indeed.
It's very important. In addition to it contribute with a great contribution in terms of GDP growth. Actually, as you know, and our audience, the GDP, which it consists of three main things: the agricultural part, the industrial part, and the service part. And the service part, which is the most added value part. And if you would like to grow quickly your GDP growth, that they are calling it the quick win, actually, to focus on the service part. And nowadays that the government is focusing and the presidential leadership is giving a lot of initiatives and a lot of incentive, especially tax incentive for the added value services. Actually, one of them, the technology part, you can see easily. And in addition to encouraging SMEs and giving and the entrepreneurs to have a solid economy. All of those things, which is one of the most important things that will help us to have a solid economy in the coming future. And as they are calling, one of my international friends is calling our economy, it's tiger economy, in terms of we are building on a lot of things, construction, education, health. We are.
It's a very diversified economy, no doubt, the Egyptian economy. Now, Dr. Roshdy, to bring in also FDIs, more FDIs, there were a lot of legislative reforms, including a new investment law, a new customs law, a data protection law. Talk to us about the importance of these new laws, the incentives you talked about, the golden license, and all of these efforts.
Actually, you are hitting a nerve. You are talking about three main pillars, which is one of them, the incentive law, in addition to the protection, in addition to the encouragement of giving a chance for small and medium enterprises. I would like to start with entrepreneurs and small and medium enterprises. In my humble opinion, small and medium enterprises and encouraging entrepreneurs through giving them a chance for have a golden license or a lot of things. And nowadays you can see easily that you can establish your company through digital channels.
Right.
This is one of the most important things, and you can see easily that this is aligned with the global direction to go for digitalization. And why small and medium enterprises are crucial for any economy, I would like to simplify to our audience this point. If you have, for example, two companies that building your economy, if one of them is defaulted, what will happen, sir? You will lose like 50% of your economy. But if you have a lot of companies and one of them is defaulted, it will not make a difference. You have a diversified portfolio. As our ancestors saying that you shouldn't put all your eggs
in one basket.
Yes.
Right, and I remember clearly that former US President Barack Obama, who was there in the middle of the financial crisis of 2008, 2009.
Yes.
I remember that he said he doesn't want to have the big cats anymore, the too big to fail anymore. Just this, I guess, resonates with what you were saying, that we don't put all the eggs in one basket. We don't want anything that is too big to fail because it will drag on the rest of the economy. But when you have diversified economy, so diversified, then you are in a much safer place.
I would like to thank you for stressing and highlighting this point clearly. And you quote
Mr. Obama, of
Mr.
course,
Obama,
he was
yes,
talking about the
President
banks
Obama. Yes,
and the mortgage
bank-
crisis, yeah.
Yes, banks. And if you apply this on...
And you're a banking expert, so I mean, this
Yes,
is your territory.
Yes, thank you, dear. Actually, if you apply this on our country, you will find that the presidential leadership is giving a chance to diversify the economy through SMEs and entrepreneurs. And this is for the first time in our country. You can see harmony between all sectors, public sector, private sector. They are working together in a harmony. Actually, you can find that the presidential leadership has a great vision concerning SMEs, and Central Bank of Egypt is actually provided initiative for SMEs with loans with lower interest rate. Actually, as far as I call it, reached to 5 to 8% based on the industry and sales turnover. In addition to, after that, Ministry of Finance take care of these initiatives. In addition to a lot the tax incentive, those are the main things. And at the end, the data privacy. This is one of the most important things in terms of, because nowadays you can see is this the war, which is not like previous. They are fighting and there's a fire. No, actually the war nowadays, which is the data. Now you can, one of the most trendy sciences, which is the big data. We nowadays we can track all your behavior, your things, and tailor-made services that align with your needs.
Well, wars are not, as we know, in any place today. And in fact, next door, there is a new type of war where the resistance kills members of the occupation army, but the occupation army, instead of killing those fighters, they kill civilians, they kill children, they kill women. So I guess this is, wars are not the same anymore indeed, because it's really goes against humanitarian law and international law. But anyway, back to our subject, Dr. Roshdy, you were mentioning the SMEs and the big support of the government for SMEs. I guess that this supports also social justice goals when you help the small and medium enterprises. And I also suppose that we are taking lessons from the experiences of others when because countries where SMEs represent a big chunk of GDP and become some sort of bone for the, or backbone for the economy, development happens automatically, and sustainability appears to be nearer. Is that correct?
I believe the SMEs is a big topic, and it has a different aspects, and it has a different benefit, which is positively reflect on GDP growth, the economy, the unemployment rate, the exporting side, and we have a great initiatives to reach $1 billion exports, and this is one of the most important things that will help us to decrease our deficit, our balance of payment deficit. And this is how it will be happen through small and medium enterprises and through a lot of initiatives. And the challenge, one of the famous quotes, which is for famous strategic planning science, which is called Henry Mintzberg, it is easy to plan, but it is difficult to implement. The challenge in terms of implementation, the challenge, I can put
a lot of theories,
wonderful plan, but in terms of implementation, we didn't implement things. But nowadays in Egypt, you can find we have a good plan and we are implementing, and this is positively reflect on our GDP growth. And in addition to the global messages that sending. One of them that we are on the right track, that the BRICS, one of the strongest economists, they invited us to join the BRICS, and this will benefit a lot. This is a positive signal that we are on the right track. Hosting COP27, that we are sustaining, we are trying to have a sustainable environment. We are
Actually, Egypt is a global leader when it comes to, of course, climate change issues and global warming issues. Allows Dr. Roshdy and dear viewers to watch another report here in the Daily Debate about sustainable development, which is a big part of Egypt's 2030 vision, a big goal, sustainable development, a foundation indeed for the future here in Egypt. Please stay with us.
Sustainable development management is a foundation for the new republic's economic, social, and environmental future, is one of Egypt's top priorities to ensure long-term success and improvement in the lives of the Egyptians. In this regard, planning for a sustainable development in Egypt has been oriented towards long-term goals, utilizing all the knowledge about the environmental results of different solutions. In line with Egypt's sustainable development strategy, the country has set plans, Egypt Vision 2030 and the National Strategic Plan for 2052, that respond to Egypt's need to interrogate all policies, plans, and legislations under one comprehensive development strategy. Over the past few years, Egypt has undergone a wave of state-led, demand-driven projects of informal settlements, upgrading, establishing new communities, rehabilitation of heritage areas, large public transit projects, infrastructure mega projects, and social welfare programs, all of which being guided by Egypt's Vision 2030, which is ultimately driven by the Sustainable Development Goals. While there are improvements on many fronts, sustainable development management remains essential to ensure that Egypt's national projects and policy reforms have the desired impact and will consistently help to foster economic growth for generations to come. Egypt has taken steps in the direction of its Vision 2030 by undertaking reforms in different areas, including building infrastructure and highways connecting remote areas to boost the economy further. It's worth mentioning that Egypt's future and sustainability is a strategy that has been developed according to a planning approach taking into consideration the rights of new generations in a prosperous life.
Thank you, Abir, for this report again, and back here in the studio with Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic and banking expert. Now, Dr. Roshdy, the Egyptian government has embarked on a number of economic reforms, social reforms over the past few years, again with the goal of achieving sustainable development. Your comment on these efforts, the reforms, the continuation of these reforms, with the big aim, of course, of achieving prosperity for all and sustainable growth?
In my humble opinion, if you'd like to see I can say it, how the economic reform implemented in a lot of countries, you can see easily there are a lot of victims for this economic reform. The situation is different here in Egypt. At the same time, you go for the capitalism part, in addition to giving priority for low income people, One of the most important initiatives, which is
The
my humble
presidential initiative,
opinion,
Haya Karima, I
Haya
guess.
Karima,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It serves a lot of families, and they are ensuring to give the what they are calling the subsidy to the one who need it actually. You can see 20 years ago, the government is bearing a lot of subsidy, but actually it didn't go for the deserved people.
The most needy, yeah.
Yeah, the most needed people actually. Nowadays, you can find they are serving a lot of families. They are serving like, as far as I recall, more than 15 to 20 million people from household segment actually, and they are in a need for that. In addition to giving them the opportunity to have their own business. This is aligned with the initiative for SMEs and entrepreneurs, and they are giving them the required skills to have their own business and to be productive people for and give back to their community and for their families. You can see how the harmony between a lot of sectors, the government, the Ministry of Finance, the Central Bank of Egypt, the private sector, is
The
working
NGOs.
the NGOs, a lot of sectors, they are supporting each others to achieve our strategic goals, to be one of the most and the fastest growth economies globally, and you can see this easily. And in addition to, you can find that Egypt, one of the most important countries actually, that there's a lot of expectations to bring a lot of FDI in coming years. This is due to the infrastructure, investing in education and health, which is reflected on the manpower, the mega projects, depending on the most trendy thing, which is the renewable energies. You can see a lot of solar planets, a lot of mega projects serving on this strategic goal.
Parts, Dr. Roshdy, of the ongoing reforms is to get a bigger share for the private sector in the economy, and for public sector companies to retract and take some sort of withdrawal for the sake of more participation for the private sector. How do you see this progressing, and how important indeed is this for the Egyptian economy and again for growth?
In my humble opinion, this is one of the bravest decisions to get a step back from a lot of sectors and make it based on supply and demand. And this is what they are calling this the fair competition. And to be honest with you and our audience, we are not inventing the wheel.
Right.
This is a global experience that did previously, and a lot of, I'm not saying developing countries, I'm saying developed countries, they are getting a step back, and they sold their shares on a lot of companies for the private sector, who is trying to maximize the ROI, the return on investments, which positively will reflect on the GDP growth. You can see this easily, and our audience, and this is with keeping and taking care of low and medium income people.
Right.
And this is, I couldn't drop it down. Why? Because a lot of developed countries, they drop it down and they leave it like that. But Egypt and the presidential leadership is giving care of it actually.
Indeed. And social justice has been a goal for Egyptians, a fair goal for all Egyptians, and indeed many initiatives, and especially the presidential initiative Haya Karima is playing a big role in that. So if we talk about the social justice dimension, or the role that initiatives like Haya Karima play, how important is it for us to have this role continue and to even expand?
It comes to top of my mind that if you would like to sustain things, you have to keep developing. This is one of the most important things in all fields, which is like, for example, if you are offering product and service, there's a product and service life cycle for everything.
Right.
And if you'd like to enhance this, you have to develop it. And nowadays, the government and the presidential leadership is giving eye or giving care of this initiative. They are developing it on a regular basis, and they increasing the umbrella of the social solidarity actually for those people, and the one who can gain money and have his own project, they withdraw him from the umbrella of the social solidarity actually, and giving a chance for other one. And this is, we can say it, win-win situation. You are inverting all your power, manpower, to be productive, and this is will give back to the community, to the country, and give back and will contribute to our continent actually, and the Middle East.
Right. Dr. Roshdy, so what do we need in this upcoming period? Do we need more from the industrial sector? Do we need more from the agricultural sector, from the technology, communications and technology sector, the services sector? What do we need more to, to move, to continue to move forward and to move at faster paces so as to achieve the aspirations of the Egyptian people?
In my humble opinion, one of the most important things is to go for digitalization, which is the new era. I believe I recalled one of the quotes for the famous for one of the famous philosopher, which is called Heraclitus. The only constant in the life is a change. For that reason,
Right.
we have to adapt with this change. If we couldn't adapt and we couldn't go for the digitalization part, and you can see easily that a lot of countries and a lot of cities and a lot of organizations, they inverted their what they are calling brick and mortars stores or things to be virtually nowadays. And the challenge nowadays to go for the digitalization part, and I believe that the government is giving, and the presidential leadership is giving care for this one, for this part, and I hope one day to see Ministry for Digital Transformation and focusing for digital transformation, financial inclusion, which will positively reflect on the GDP growth, as if everything will be under the umbrella of the economy. You can see easily, you can monitor the tax increase, collection tax. This will reflect on education budget, health budget, and mega projects and infrastructure. A lot of things we will be the fruits of this soon.
And artificial intelligence is a big part of that.
For sure. This is the new era, the artificial intelligence, and this is, as I told you and our audience at the beginning of our episode today, this is one of the most important sciences nowadays that people are focusing on, which is the big data. The big data nowadays, you collect everything about the audience, their appetite, their needs, everything, and you are tailoring for them or fulfill their needs based on their behavior. That's what they are calling it, consumer behavior. For that, you will offer what they are calling it tailor-made service or product, and we can see this easily building, counting on digital transformation, AI, as you said, and this will be our new era. And the challenge nowadays in terms of education and to have a competitiveness, which is to gain the new knowledge. And by the way, the impact of the digital part and the infrastructure and mega projects and a lot of initiatives that the presidential leadership, in addition to investing in education, in investing on the part of the political side, actually it reflected on enhancing our competitiveness ranking. We jumped a lot of ranks, which helped us to bring FDI, and I believe in coming years we will find booming FDI will come to our country and will enhance the unemployment rate, decrease it.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic and banking expert. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear viewers, for watching the Daily Debate. Please stay with Nile TV International.